All right. So this is June 24th, Wednesday, 2026. Two trades were taken today, one loss and then one win. And this is a market review as well. How to I like kind of navigate these choppy conditions or trading consolidation. So when I came into the market today, um, my bias was extremely based on how or what we did off New York Open, right? Because it's a daily power three. Um, has done what it's accumulated, right? It hasn't done anything significant, no manipulation. So to trade um, away from consolidation, or I don't want to trade consolidation, I want to trade expansion. So in order for that to happen, we need a new phase of price, right? We need consolidation to expansion. For that to occur, we need to sweep the key level, either the range low or the range high, right? So that's what I waited. I had, you can see the alerts marked. And it was just choppy on both sides. See, I had this alerts marked. I was just pull out a book this morning. I was not trying to trade anything stupid. But what happened was off open, we manipulated lower, or not exactly off open. Off open, we manipulated higher on ES, right? And then within this 15-minute fair value gap, while YM sweeps this relevant low down here. So now this is pre-market, and yeah, market open. It's really just kind of seek and destroy now, and I don't really care until we have one of these range extremes that are swept, right? So what is the first range extreme that's swept? Obviously, we see YMs in a spot of bullish distribution, and we're sweeping this kind of range low beneath, and then Nasdaq sweeps the range low as well at 9:45. Weird time for it to sweep it, or 9:48 here. So immediately after that, we have this weekly cycle sequential SMT that forms because they're sweeping previous day low. Um, so we have a high time frame cracking correlation. At the same time, we have sync manipulation, which is what I like to see. What ES sweeps 930 low, although it does leave failure swings beneath, which isn't ideal. But ES could just be the stronger asset as it's the one making the higher highs, right? So this is where my first trade comes in. Pull up Discord just in case any questions come in. My first trade comes in, and because of this huge stop loss, right, 160 points or 133, I just waited to get a limit fill at the CISD. And the reason I still held the limit, even though ES and YM took, its swing high, is because they've been the stronger asset, right? ES swept this high, it made a higher high here, and then made another higher high. So I just expect ES and YM to hit the highs first. So I was okay with, NQ lagging behind. But maybe in this scenario, I could have, chose to trade one of the leading assets instead, but um, I did not. I chose NQ, so I got filled. And then it's literally just, I think I targeted 2R. It was initially targeting my final draw on liquidity uh, for NQ, which is this high right here. But I think I targeted right above it for 2R, and that ended up failing. The reason I had it at the body low was just because the wick size is very small. And it's also 114 points. I don't expect price to drop 114 points if we're expanding and distributing towards my drawn liquidity, right? So then looking at this, it's like once NQ failed to distribute from here, it's kind of like, all right, we have initial sweep of our key level. And this is something I sent in one of the journals we have was it's actually, I think it's a really good video. It is, let's see, I'll open it right here. Um, key moments of a key level, right? So it talks about different. I can paste it or I'll put it in chat after, but it talks about different moments when price is relevant, or like when you want to see expansion or your entry after mitigating a key level, right? So the first spot is especially from external range liquidity or a liquidity pool like this. It's the initial sweep, right? So that initial sweep could provide an entry, which it did, and it failed. But the next spot could provide an entry would be the initial mitigation sweep, which is like after we first mitigate that key level, sometimes you may need to form more structure and re-sweep the low, right? This is tends to be more apparent, I would say, when it's a much higher time frame liquidity pool, or if it's within a fair value gap, right? We create imbalance, um, we seek lower into it, and then we have perform a stop hunt and then move higher, right? With we mitigate the key level and then we perform a sweep within the key level. Okay, but this is just a external range liquidity to a internal range liquidity, but also pairing it with the rangy conditions that we're in. So we're going from external range low to external range high here. Okay, so this is my second entry. I entered late here. The initial CISD was right here, and I wasn't extremely confident because we'd want this to be protected, but we ended up getting great displacement away here. I probably entered like right in here. Stop loss was, probably around the wick. I didn't have it like a hardly placed, like a hard stop loss there. And then TP was at this high, which I ended up closing right here, which is I think a very good trail that I had, which I'll explain why I did that. Okay, so I entered on that next CISD, and so what adds into this, right? What makes this potentially, why would this work now instead of this sweep, right? It's the way that 10 a.m. develops to me that makes it higher probability, right? And I'll also go over is that we had, again, sync manipulation. We had ES in a spot of bullish distribution. When is this low made? It's at 1020. So we have the manipulation at the same time. Two assets are in a spot of bullish distribution. So I find that much higher probability, right? So then what does 10 a.m. do that makes this potentially higher probability than this setup right here, right? This setup, we're longing into a spot which could be considered as high resistance, right? We manipulated into this 15-minute fair value gap and we distributed lower, expanded lower. So this could be a protected high. It has SMT attached, ES swept this external range, and then distributed lower. So we're kind of targeting high resistance here, right? But what happens with 10 a.m., right? 10 a.m. opens, it consolidates, type of AMD pattern, and then manipulates lower into the key level on two assets. We have the high time frame cracking correlation, and then we have clear expansion higher. So we have this type of AMD pattern where 10 a.m. adds to the liquidity pool above, just generates liquidity at the highs and manipulates lower, forming high resistance at the lows, and then low resistance are easier targets on the way up, as well as these failure swings higher, where it's very clear that price could expand through these levels, right? Again, I'll reference this that I had pulled up or I talked about in the past two videos, I believe, was this exact photo, right? It's not much of a rebalance play, but we're doing ERL to ERL, where we generate liquidity, and then we have the relevant level, and then the clear expansion away. So we have the high time frame plus low time frame appeal, whereas in the other scenario, um, not saying this is exactly why it failed. It could be because of the conditions, but this is more of a high resistance target and then low resistance above it, right? But in this scenario, we have low resistance, and then more failure swings higher. So we generated more liquidity to move higher. So the way I managed this trade, which I think could be helpful to some people, was I think I went break even around when we took this high right here. So just when we swept the AMD range high, or the accumulation range high, consolidation highs, I had went break even, and then that is also because or it might have, yeah, I think when we took these range highs, that's when I had break even. And then I'd trail my stop loss at this level right here is because we manipulate lower, right? 10:30 opens, okay? And what does 10:30 do, right? We already have this SMR in with this 4 hour power of three. So I expect this low to be very protected. However, with new high time frame openings like 10:30, um, ideally we expect manipulation lower, below the open, and then continue higher towards the drawn liquidity. But what happens? I was trying to hear you. What happens is that we move lower, close to 10:30 open. We have an internal sell side sweep, and then expansion away, forming a new CISD, new order block formation. So at this point, this should be the low of the 10:30, or kind of the low. Like this low should now hold a 10:30 30-minute candle, because we have this protected low immediately above it. So I trail my stop loss to this low right here, this protected low, and then we continued higher. Running through all this generated liquidity, leading to this high time frame DOL. And something I had marked in my live trade video was drawn liquidity plus drawn time. So this is a concept covered by Flux, and I think it's very, very beneficial. Is that thinking of price on an X and Y axis of when we should, like, not only the price target that we should hit, but when we should hit it, right? So I marked this on a lot of my chart reviews and daily studies. Also, like when we make these lows, the low of sessions, I don't believe they're random whatsoever. But so I'll say this is a relevant high. And then also I tie this into my idea of like the 2+ asset manipulation, or 2+ asset of hitting a key level, right? So this is my DOL, but I'm also watching the entire time ES. Once ES expands through this key level, which is the level that NASDAQ, I was targeting NASDAQ, but once it expands through, I expect it to hit a higher drawn liquidity, right? And so I'm watching previous day high as my drawn liquidity for ES, and I have a drawn liquidity for NASDAQ. And then when does ES hit previous day high? 10:59. Okay, kind of random. Not really, right? And then what happens following this, right, is that we have NASDAQ, barely wick into this 1 minute BISI. And at this point, if we are bullish and we're expanding, there's no reason that this shouldn't hold, in my opinion. It's also SMTF for people who study cracks and correlations. Um, so we should hold this low right here to get to this high. And it was very close proximity, so I trailed my stop loss to here as well. Not only do we have a high made at a relevant, like we have a high, a price level made, but also at a relevant time. So an objective, the daily objective for New York AM session could be hit, right? So that is why I had trailed very tightly at this level. And then it looks like it was a good trail as price is continuing to sell off now. I guess I'll kind of expand on this drawn liquidity, drawn time thing. In this scenario, for New York session, we want to see an open. So imagine this is like complete New York session. We want to see, the low form from 9:30 to 10. Sometimes it can be just past 10 if we have some 10 a.m. reversal, right? And then this would be in the form of a high time frame. I guess in this scenario, where a high time frame euro, which is 15-minute plus, or 15-minute or 1 hour key level, right? And in this scenario, we're hitting a key level, and we want this high to form from 10:30 to 11 o'clock, right? And then obviously that works out as ES takes previous day high at 10:59. So now we have both criteria met for New York AM session to be delivered properly, and the open, low, high close for New York AM session properly, right? So again, in this scenario, is high time frame euro, which is 15-minute or 1 hour. And you can also apply this to anything, right? So if we're trading continuation in your AM session. This could be IRL to ERL or ERL to IRL, right? It doesn't matter, but the key levels remain the same and the time slots remain the same. And this can definitely vary based on the profiles that you have. I definitely recommend studying Flux and his time, like his intraday time lessons, because it is definitely very helpful when navigating like when price will terminate, right? Do you guys have any questions so far? I can keep yapping about this a little bit if you'd like. I want to make sure everyone's on the same page here before I keep yapping. Thank you, Fatal. Thank you, Fatal. No question. Okay. Oh, come on in. What's up? What's up? Awesome, bro. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. I guess I'll continue to yap then a little bit of how I how I personally use these flux concepts aligned with like quarterly theory, right? And my requirements for manipulation, right? So some other things that I'll want to utilize, right, is the obviously we have the key levels, but then if we form some type of sequential SMT here, right, that would even see always after hitting the key level, we form some type of sequential SMT. This could validate, the manipulation that we have in order to trade higher prices, right? And another thing is that we may form when we hit this ERL um, a way, and sometimes I'll cover this in my daily studies, is a way for us to potentially know or have an idea when this distribution is finished. It will form an opposing sequential SMT or cracking correlation, right? And this is actually occurs when we sweep previous day high on ES. We form a weekly cycle sequential SMT at the highs as well, right? So key time, key level, sequential SMT that you know supports that manipulation, all aligns um, with this kind of New York profile. And then what am I looking for within, I guess, after this low is made? So it really depends on it's all about power three, in my opinion, right? So if we make this low at 1020, like we did today, I'd want to look for potential 1030 continuation, 1045 continuation until the objectives are met, right? If we have a 930 smart money reversal, I'm looking for 9:45, 10 a.m. to continue to take us higher in continuation to our objectives, right? So that's kind of how I play along with it, right? If we have 9:30 open and does the manipulation, right? I'd expect 10 a.m. open to continue higher, right? So that's just like a 9:30 to 10 continuation. But 9:30 may consolidate. We might have 10 a.m. manipulation, and then distribution through that, if that makes sense. And then obviously we can use, we have it's all fractal, right? So we have the key levels continuously. Sorry, um, key level as continuation, and then what can we look for in here is potential like swing divergence, PSP, a cracking correlation to confirm the manipulation, um, or like a low time frame internal buy or sell side sweep here to form a protected low. Maybe there's a SMT in here as well. All just little things like it's all key level, sync manipulation. I talk about that a lot. You want all assets to be in a spot of distribution, or at least two assets to align, right? We're performing this sell side manipulation at the same time and expanding in sync, right? So that's definitely what I'm looking for in these scenarios. um, yeah, I guess, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Um, anything else, I guess, any further questions, comments, anything like that? I think I covered most of what I would like to. Huh? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, my mic was pretty far. I said it seems pretty good to me.
Pretty good.
It was just kind of slow up until like I wasn't really looking for shorts today, so I don't know. Like
Yeah, that's a good point.
that initial run up at 9:30 there.
Hmm.
And like you're saying how you're saying 9:30 can manipulate and then into 10 it can kind of continue that. It kind of like did that in a way today as like we're still wanting to
Hmm.
manipulate again at the lows.
Hmm.
So like we didn't really do that at 10 a.m. so it's still opened chopped like right there as you can see that like consolidation like it's literally like the start of 10 a.m.
Yeah.
is like the perfect like exactly what you want to see in a PO3 basically
Yeah.
because it starts chopping around and
Hmm.
then that drop lower is the manipulation and you're
Hmm.
making the resweep micro
Yep.
boom bam boom.
Was there a micro there?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, fire. I think I
And there's
didn't
also
part.
daily and weekly as well down there but
Oh, daily too. I didn't even know there was daily. I think I thought weekly and
because
micro. That's fire. Yeah, that's a
like
great point. How like 930 initially manipulates higher. Um,
you hit like the 90 there but then I didn't trust that because you're still like if you're looking at we're still like kind of in
which
a rangy day, so we're just manipulating the lows to then seek the highs again.
exactly
Because
like
like
we're
look at all
trading
the
away from
replays
these
right
failure
like
swings right here,
quickly at
taking
like
short. So
8, 9 p.m.,
yeah,
9 p.m., 1:30, and then again at like 8 a.m.
yeah, actually just something that
So like
definitely I
in
never trade away from is just like the stacked trendline liquidity, just failure swings, right? This is
mhm.
not probable whatsoever, in my opinion. Um,
And like if we were gonna seek like it's kind of just if then that type deal, right? So
yeah, exactly.
it's like if we didn't get that initial like clean reversal right there at like 10:20 or just kept leaking lower, then that I was definitely gonna close my charts out because then it probably would have
Yeah, here.
like seek more into 11. But since we got that clean, like that displacement right at 10:21,
Hmm.
and that IO Fed entry with the swing divergence right there, there's a swing
Yeah,
divergence 10:23,
fearing entered on
and
that 50 minute or
that's
15
where
second
that's where I
CIC.
saw it, and I was like hesitant because if we're bullish, we shouldn't come back to there at all,
Yeah,
basically.
100%. Great point.
And
Yeah.
then like 10:26 order block, kind of use that wick of it there. Had a small busy,
Yep.
but
Yep.
like, just so accurate when NQ's is good, like it's just
Yeah.
you've watched a lot of Flux videos, so when he annotates every single PD array, it usually has a good
Yeah.
reaction off.
Everything just
He,
holds. Yeah.
like even like the 1030 Bissy there,
Oh crap! What the heck?
like that's still
Yeah.
he didn't mark it,
Order
but
block as
still
well
held.
too. This busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very beautiful. When price just gets held by every order block, it's just magnificent. And we have
And like
these like
when
5 minute
you study
gap
when
taps and
people like
everything.
start to study like the morning market maker models
Hmm.
that we study from Flux,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if you just have your chart at like the start of your chart at like 8 a.m. highs, and then just you can just see the buy model right to 11. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like those, it's just
It's
930 is like
so pretty.
making that, yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
just you just
actually that's beautiful. Yeah. Every
you
yeah.
just
It's
see, like, you literally see the point of like where it turns into a buy model right there, like 1021.
hmm we start to respect these like these bullish PD arrays and we're expanding away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and 10 a.m. open, low, high close
Yeah. What
into what?
Yeah. What Fato's saying, if people don't understand or not quite sure, is that this guy Flux Trades, he teaches that every New York AM session will either finish or like start or have a full market maker model within it, right? So he's just saying how 8 a.m. starts the sell side of the curve, and we work down into 10 a.m. forming the smart money reversal um, into 11 a.m. right with the time guides as well aligning, and then the
Like, the
Yep.
initial long that we had, and then I didn't really see it because I was working, and then I was kind of just waiting for the 10. Like that, where you have your initial change of state there,
Hmm.
I'll look at my chart. Like the busy at 950,
Yep.
like you study like the Flux's macro videos.
Hmm.
Like I was literally watching like 10, like 956. If we
Hmm.
got a nice like rip up there, and then we had that like inverse from 955 or something,
Yep.
then you'd be like more confident in to seek. But like see how we just stayed there and just
Consolidate. Yeah.
literally just whipped. And
Definitely should
like
have held
it,
this. If we're gonna go
like
higher
the
there.
big thing for me was like that 950 Bissy, and like
Yeah.
that's the start of the macro too. So like
Hundred
that's
percent.
the fair value gap you're going to be using during the macro time to entry usually.
Yeah.
So
That definitely should have
as
held
soon as we
price
start
higher.
dropping around the 10, you're just waiting for price to tell you what it's going to do next.
Yeah. 100%.
And
Yeah.
like
That was definitely
go
like
to
I was just
15,
hoping that would hold my limit entry there.
a lot different when it's in the moment too. But
Yeah. Yeah.
because like in the
Definitely.
moment you're saying that like most discounted order block, maybe 948, is still holding this chop that's at 10 a.m.
Yeah. I was
or
marking like
something like
these
that. But like
low time
if
frame
if you were
lows.
bullish, ideally that 950 would have just literally just like 955 that candle.
Yeah. That should have
It
just
probably the next candle 956 it would have ripped higher if we were
100%.
bullish there.
100%.
And then 10 a.m. would have just like did a little retrace and then immediately expanded into high day.
Yep.
And then you could have seen reversal at 10 a.m. or something like that.
Yep.
But 10 a.m. opened, literally accumulated. It's perfect for like those lows are just waiting to be taken at that point. So
Yep.
and then 10:15 or 10:08, sorry, you're in your new Q4 micro.
Yep.
And then yeah. But like
Take a look
again,
at that.
you could have been waiting for 10:30, but the change of state and that displacement happened before
Hmm.
10:30. So you can argue this and that. I was waiting for 10:30, but you're looking at what price is doing.
Hmm.
It's like an if then if that type thing.
Yeah.
It's like some
That,
days we'll get the lows after 10:30, and then we'll have like a micro 90 type deal, and then we could see higher.
yeah.
So it all just
That
it's
100%.
different
Yeah. It's definitely like weird
profiles
with
in a
these
day.
the conditions too. It's like kind of could expect like more rangy, and also it's so weird. Just ES like it's just ugly, but
Yeah, the other two weren't very
ES just
helpful.
resweeping and resweeping and resweeping. It's like that's not
And then
ideal. Yeah.
YM just
Why I'm doing whatever the hell it
resweeped
wants.
930 low at 943 and hasn't seen lower since.
Yeah. Literally just rips. But I guess that's good to see, kind of confirming the bullish bias there. But yeah,
Yeah, I think he was just the weaker pair and just kind of chud.
yeah,
But like even in those chud moments, it's these like time, you know, the flux stuff still
always
shows.
holds. Yeah, I I can scroll through my data collection right now and just the past days have actually been like on point. Um,
Yeah, and sometimes there it's like you want to be done by 10, but sometimes you're waiting till 10, if that makes
mhm,
sense
yeah,
today.
100%.
And like
Just
if you're getting that manipulation and nice change of state before 10 by like you know what I mean, like those
yeah, like
nice
yesterday.
930 PO3s, but
Yep.
then draws and hit yet by 10, then you're waiting for either
Further
retracement or
DOL.
like usually that first 15-minute gap usually will tell a lot if there's like
Yeah,
a first 15-minute gap, and
I'll
then we're
try and
using
see if
that.
I can get
Anyways,
show what you're
I
talking
gotta go
about.
back to it, but
Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
good stuff
I
though, brother.
appreciate it, man. Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah, no time, no problem. Probably do this a little bit more since like this is when I'm at like home for an hour at work too, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty chill.
perfect, bro. That's perfect.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
can just
sounds good.
chat, baby.
We got to get your
Feels like
Discord too. We got to like somehow get a shared,
I'll
spot to do this.
I'll have to yeah do something for
Or we
sure.
could do it like
Either
in your chat too, or you have a bigger one. We could do it in there as well. It doesn't matter. But
yeah,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
100%.
Alrighty, peace out,
Sounds
brothers.
good. See you guys. Have a good one.